This picture shows a father seeking his son among the unburied cadavers. This picture shows the victims of the tsunami under makeshift canvas covered with dry ice. Introduction. After closely following the development of aid and assistance, in particular the work of collection and identification of corpses rendered to victims of the 2003 earthquake in Iran, the tsunami of December 2004, and the earthquake that struck the Philippines in 2006, it was flagrantly obvious that this work proved inadequate in light of the dimensions of these catastrophes. Countless cadavers remained unburied or inappropriately placed under makeshift canvas covered with dry ice or deposited in containers awaiting identification, which in a large number of cases persists until today. With thousands of bodies still not identified, this has resulted in a terrible and unjust service to the great number of families throughout the world. Those who have been deprived or have had limited access to the mortal remains of their loved ones, and as a result have found it impossible to benefit from life insurance policies, pensions, and other economic settlements necessitated by disaster. Not to mention the public health problems generated by unburied corpses and their possible threats to the environmental. Method. The aforementioned situation led to a suggestion to the United Nations to create a permanent body of men and women numbering 1,000 who may the blue helmets, all of whom could be threatened simply and rapidly to work with exceptional efficiency and speed in cataloging and classifying from 50 to 100,000 cadavers per day. The method consists of the following. First, photograph tattoo marks, scars, anomalies, deformities, and the face of each cadaver. 2. Remove the right thumb for each cadaver, or in the absence of this digit, the left thumb, or in the absence of both, any one of the remaining digits. Identification of which would the second, third, fourth of 5. Number 3, remove a tooth, any one, preferably one in the best condition. 4, remove samples of hair, beard, and mustache if present. All of these material, items 2 and 3, would then be placed in containers with 10% from all and duly numbered. Each corpse would then receive the same number refixed with the metal tag, then placed in an appropriate plastic sack and immediately buried in common graves, placed side by side in numerical sequence and with locations of their discovery duly marked. Personnel and equipment. First, personnel to collect human remains to be quickly mobilized at the scene of the disaster in numbers proportional to the number of victims. Easily trained without any need for specific qualification, each individual would be able to collect the remains of 50 to 100 cadavers per day and organize accompanying material. Number 2, professionals trained in forensic medicine and dentistry available to give supervision. 3, electric saws for cutting through metal and concrete in order to free bodies. 4, backhoes for excavating common graves large enough for side-by-side internment on cadavers. 5. Digital cameras, one for each person involved in collection. 6. Scissors for cutting clothing and apparel, one for each collector. 7. Surgical instruments, dentist, forceps, rat cutter, and surgical scalpels for each collector. 8. The measures, one for each collector to measure height. 9. Numbered individual containers made from glass or some other material resistant to formol for storage or collected human remains, tooth and finger. One tooth and finger. Number 10, 10% formol in quantity sufficient for the number of receptacles, about 30 centimeters for each receptacle. 11. Zippered plastic body bags for each cadaver. 12. Numbered metal tags to attach to each body bag containing a cadaver. 13. Signs to be attached at each 50 meters, together with common graves indicating the number of bodies buried in that space. 14. Garments. Rubber gloves, gloves made from metallic fabric, overclothes, masks, boots, head coverings, and protective glasses. 15. Containers with the same numbering of metal tags attached to cadavers made from resistant material, which is nursling such by 50 centimeters with 3 compartments for storing. A. Receptacles containing collected material. B. Clothing. C. Personal belongings, documents, rings, necklaces, chains, earrings, key rings, and so forth. 16. Antiseptic lotions and deodorants. Observation. The number of personnel and the amount of equipment will depend on the number of victims to be attended. It is worth mentioning that in a team of 1,000 men would be able to catalog 50 to 100,000 cadavers per day. The United Nations, which makes use of an effective force of thousands, would assume responsibility for personnel, while a private company could supply the material. A privately contracted company could even assume all the duties described. Result: containers with the material removed, photograph, thumb or finger, tooth, clothing, and personal belongings would then be sent to an identification center where fingerprints can be taken and where DNA can be obtained from the tooth or other tissue in the event that the corpse had no teeth. DNA would be identified by bone and tissue contained in the thumb or finger removed. Once identification is made, the corpse can be exhumed according to the enumeration made previously, and the remains entrusted to family members. Conclusion. The procedure described here first enables identification of the greatest number of bodies in the shortest period of time. Second, enables families to receive bodies and belongings in the shortest time possible. 3. Enables families to receive pensions, indemnities, insurance, and other benefits in a short time as a result of the first and accurate identification. 4. Denies the possibility of mistake in the delivery of bodies to family members as has occurred several times in the past. 5. Avoids public health problems. 6. Avoids environmental pollution problems.